are listening to WHOA Podcast, coming to you from Gainesville, Florida. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the WHOA GNV Podcast, the Coronavirus Sessions. We're changing things up just a little bit right now as we are going through this trial together. We do have a few more episodes that we're going to be putting out of our regular podcast, but obviously we're not able to get into the studio right now just with our social distancing, right, Michael?
So it'd be the word of 2020, right? Social distancing.
Social distancing. It's funny talking about the word of 2020. We started off with frictionless, with frictionless, and now I feel like it's been nothing but friction.
Just navigate the friction.
So podcast fam, we're going to be bringing daily episodes. We're going to make these a little bit shorter. We're going to call them the Coronavirus Sessions. We're going to be doing it via Zoom and inviting guests in on these to really talk about, how we're navigating this virus from a business standpoint, from a community standpoint, right? Like how Gainesville is going to handle this. And it's been super interesting so far because I've had a lot of people reaching out to me directly, really asking about how New Scooters for Less is going to be doing, what we're doing. I feel in a weird place sometimes, Mike, because I don't have the answers.
Right. It's tough, yeah.
We've never navigated anything like this before, right? So
no. But one of the things that's interesting, especially in a seasonal business, and we'll get into this, is we are kind of conditioned to adapt and have to act quickly. And I don't know if that's why people might be looking toward you. You are that community leader, but that ability to kind of change on a moment's notice, like we're seeing a lot of other businesses do, is a skill that I think is important to highlight. So
yeah. I personally, like, I'm honored that, people value my opinion and want to know what we're doing, and I'll be happy to share any advice. And I know that you will be too.
Absolutely.
About what we're doing, but, just complete transparency. We're trying to navigate this just like everybody else in town. Right.
Right.
So let me start this just a little bit. I want to let people know that we're going to be putting out these daily at noon, really starting in April. And we're just going to it's going to be a short, I don't know what it's going to be, but these are going to be 30-minute podcasts. And, it's going to be very focused on this topic, right? Kind of navigating this virus. I'm sure we'll get into other stuff, but that's the whole core here is we feel responsible as a podcast and as being Gainesville's business podcast to really get information to our business owners here in Gainesville and to help them navigate and help them, but all of us together as a community navigate this. So I want to let people know we really need your support, and I know that everybody else needs your support too. What's been really cool so far for me is really seeing the community come together. I know that these are big time trials, right? But what's cool is during these trials is really seeing the community come together, the support, of everybody just really being there for each other. That really inspires me. But I'll tell you right now, this podcast and New Scooters for Less, we really need business. We really need support. So if you want to sponsor one of these episodes, reach out to me directly. Just Collin, Collin at repaintthewall.com. And we'll get you set up with a sponsorship. We're going to be offering, in comparison to the normal podcast episodes, these are going to be heavily discounted because, one, we want it to to help the businesses that are sponsoring. We want to be able to support them as well. But my goal here is really just to help us cover the cost of doing this, of the production. Not necessarily, there's not a lot of video
production
studio time
value.
right now, but we're still paying our team to edit it, to get it out there online and that kind of thing. I can tell you right now that my biggest goal through all of this is to keep our people employed. Right. I've seen people already make layoffs. and make those hard decisions. And that's the last thing that I want to do. So being able to provide for our team, like that's my biggest priority right now. And then of course, ensuring that at the end of this, we still have a business to come back to. So anyway, if you're interested in sponsoring, we would love your support. And really, I just want to go ahead and kind of dive into this, Mike, because a lot of people have been asking us, and this is why I wanted to make this just number one, just you and me having conversation, because we haven't seen each other in a week and a half.
Yeah, about.
So last week, we all started working remotely. So we had our sales and office, like admin team working remotely, working from home, and had our service team still going to the dealership. We did fall within that. What's the term that they use?
Essential business. Yeah, no, they're essential business. You know, we are shut down. We're not open to the public. So that's key one. But as an auto repair shop, I mean, we would kind of fit under that because that is what we are doing. Obviously, there's a lot of people that rely on scooters for transportation in Gainesville. And whether they're stay home or not, there's still people that have to get to and from the store to get essential needs and stuff. So people rely on their scooters for that. And that's why we're kind of fit in under that essential business category. We are shut down to the general public. There is no store traffic. You know, there's everything's pretty much contactless. We do have some employees that are going to the service department, 2 or 3 at a time, distance. You know, we're thankful to have such a big service department that they can still keep their distance while working on scooters and processing everything. But yeah, it's different. You know, definitely thankful for our team's response to this and everybody doing what they can. But it's challenging. I mean, you get employees that are being told, look, I don't care if it's Corona related or not. Like, if you feel the least bit sick, you can't come in. And so balancing having a staff to work with the needs of our customers, the needs of our community, our responsibility to make sure that they are paid. It's been challenging, but I would say that we've navigated it well in terms of dealing with the hand that's been dealt, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously for us, service right now is the only income.
Right.
So, and when you look at our business, when you look at New Scooters for Less, you know, service makes up only 25% of revenue. You know, we heavily depend on scooter sales. And so the fact that our showroom is shut down to the public is difficult right now, right?
Yeah, it's funny. I joke with this with people sometimes, but I think the outside perception, whether you spend a day, a week, or years in Gainesville, is that, man, if I was going to run a business, scooter business seems like it's so lucrative, right? I think what a lot of people don't realize is for one, obviously the seasonality that a lot of businesses have to deal with in Gainesville, but that we are super reliant upon the college demographic for our business. And what we're used to is, you know, business being really hot whenever a semester starts, and then it kind of trickles down and we ride this roller coaster. But when the students are sent home, there's nobody buying. They're not using their scooter so much for it to get serviced. It's that our main demographic, our main client base is now out of town. So that makes it very challenging. One thing that we are fortunate with the way our business is set up is to allow them to store their scooters with us. So for the first, you know, for the month of March, we did, just from a strictly business standpoint, get a lot of revenue from people that were dropping off their scooters for storage. First, it was temporarily, let's just store it for the month of March. And then as things could progress, a lot of those changed into full summer storage reservations. So that's a service that we can offer our customers because they don't know when they're going to come back to Gainesville right now. I think most people are kind of zeroing in on the fact that they're not going to come back until August. But we're able to offer that service to them to make sure that their scooter doesn't get stolen and that when they do come back, it's going to be working properly. So that's a nice, you know, jolt of revenue into our business to keep us paying our employees for, the next month or two, but eventually that runs out. So like you were saying, service becomes the lifeblood, and it's going to be challenging. We do thankfully have a lot of scooters to service still right now, but with less scooters being used, less scooters on the road, it's going to be imperative for us to find ways to still maximize revenue channels through service, through parts, through everything, to kind of keep things going, until we get to August.
Yeah. So let's talk about like when we first realized all this was going down. Do you remember when it was approximately?
Oof.
I feel like it was like mid-March.
Yeah, mid-March. It kind of followed the national timeline. I mean, you keep your eyes on it from afar as things are starting in Asia and coming over. But it didn't, it's tough to pinpoint an exact date, but it didn't start seeming like, oh, this is something we're going to have to, it's seriously going to shape our year until early to mid-March. Yeah.
And then that's when UF said, we're moving classes online.
Completely online. Yeah.
So when they did that, we immediately went into, we adapted to the point where it's like, okay, we knew that we normally start preparing for storage like April. We know that
end April. Yeah.
End of April, students are going to leave. People are graduating early May. Like even now with it being, we're recording this on March 29th. We're really not even like doing much in terms of storage, just kind of like, normally we're just kind of like putting a little bit of information out there saying, get ready, this is coming. But we instantly had to go into, all right, if UF is going to close classes like on campus for 2 weeks, we're going to do a 2-week storage. They said we're going to do $50, 2-week storage, bring your scooter in, go home, watch your classes online, come back. And of course that timeline got, pushed till the end of the semester. And now they're even talking, I don't even know, did they even make a decision about summer classes yet? I know that there was talk about them being canceled. I know there was talk about them being online. Do you even know?
Right. I honestly don't know right off the bat. I feel like from what I've heard, from what I've seen, I still get a lot of emails from customers that are students that are handling this as the information comes available. And I think everybody, at least today, expects to be back in August. Summer classes seem like they're still going to be online, but that's subject to change. Things are so volatile right now with the information we get. It seems like you could make a lot of plans that could just change tomorrow.
Yeah, so I feel like we adapted really well. At least in terms of like dropping everything we're doing and going strictly to focusing on storage. We did that really quick. I would say, from numbers, I think we only have about half of what we had last year. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, it's tough because when we typically internally look at storage reservations, it includes summer B, and those we don't pick up until July. So if I look at total reservations, yeah, it's about 2/3 of what we normally get, I would say. And I don't know where that other third is. It could be with other businesses. They could be out by their dorms. Maybe people left early and just, figured they'd handled, in the grand scheme of things, the scooter's important. But like if they're getting out of town, maybe they have family that's infected that needs care. Like that's the last thing on their mind, right? So maybe they just left them in their apartments or dorms or whatever. But yeah, just looking at the strict numbers, I'd say we're about 2/3 of what we normally are for storage reservations for the summer.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of people were asking me like some of the things that we were doing. So yeah, storage, that was the first move, was adapting, shifting towards focusing on storage. Now, in terms of our people and taking care of our people, like we decided to front 40 hours of PTO because we already had team members that were sick. Not necessarily from this virus or anything, but they were already feeling ill. We had some people who just didn't feel comfortable coming in and being around other people. So we're trying to empathize with that, right? So we decided that we were going to front an additional 40 hours of PTO, which we've done. Now we're trying to figure out what the next steps are, right? I'm scrambling, trying now that this stimulus package came out. So all the business owners that are listening, I mean, I'm sure all of you know by now, but government approved.
We're all doing the same thing.
Yeah, government approved a $2 trillion stimulus package. So now I'm like filling out all these applications, trying to like figure out all this stuff. And I'd already done it before that package had come out, at least through the SBA and the resources that they already had. So I'm still trying to navigate that. But really, like, what's next? Like, when we're looking at New Scooters for Less and the months ahead, like, what's next in your mind? Like, where's your mindset at right now?
Yeah, it's tough because it's hard to see what the demand is going to be, at least as it relates to scooter service and sales. If this, I mean, on one hand, you hear the plans are, by Easter, like everything's going to be open back up. I don't know that that's going to happen or not. Whether we end up devising ways to do service on site, like that's something that I've thought about. Does somebody needs an oil change on their scooter? Do I just go out to their apartment and do it? Can we do it mobily? Like, do we have to figure out ways to do that? That's an option. I mean, it's also interesting that there are some sales trickling in through email. Like, I've been talking to a couple clients, whether they're past customers that are looking to upgrade, or I've got a guy that's kind of in South Florida that's looking at this motorcycle. Like, I'm still trying to get creative and find ways to get sales leads, which are few and far between right now, but anything helps. So I think it's a constant, you ask, like, where do you see us in the next couple of days or weeks? Like, I don't know. I think every day it's like you wake up and you try to look for opportunity. What are we missing? What could we take advantage of more? It's interesting being in the business that we are. This time of year, we're kind of in this boat normally, like, looking for every opportunity that we can to maximize revenue, because this is kind of the downward side of that roller coaster that we're used to riding. So some of that behavior is conditioned where we're, more than ever, you're zeroed in on every opportunity you can to bring in some revenue. It's just the challenge is doing it from home and balancing everything else. But I think, whether it's online part sales, we've talked about that, like, let's go in and take pictures of parts, because there are people that it doesn't have to be in the Gainesville market that might need access. Maybe their hometown dealership or whatever is closed down and doesn't have the ability to serve their needs. So maybe taking pictures of online parts and getting those out on the web that we can ship is an option. But I think it's just sitting down and sometimes, like the way we're handling this podcast right now, sometimes these ideas come in the middle of the night. You wake up and you're like, oh, I've got it. This is what I need to be doing tomorrow. You jot everything down, keep that pad of paper by your bed, jot everything down, and then you execute tomorrow on ideas. You don't know when they're going to come, but it's literally just taking every single opportunity and going for it to see what you can do to kind of make ends meet between now and any time that normalcy may resume, whenever that might be.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because I was peacefully sleeping that night. I woke up. I don't
know that you're ever peacefully sleeping. You're always like engaged a little bit. But.
I woke up at 1:00 in the morning and it was up till 6 a.m. and came up with this entire plan for the podcast, because the one thing that I know is that our community needs us. Like, we gotta be the voice of small business and get and not just, when I say we, I mean the podcast, like actually getting small businesses like in to talk about this with us, right? And that way we can share these ideas and share everything that's happening, whether it's a small business, big business, our business leaders, we'll get some of them in town, like just everybody contributing to this together and trying to get through this together. And I just instantly went on fire and was like, okay, like this is what I think we should do. Interesting. The biggest thing that I see from an impact for New Scooters for Less is sales. And that's probably the thing that worries me the most. We're going to send out a newsletter saying that we'll still meet by appointment only. And I know that we're talking about like creating ways for customers to buy a scooter without ever stepping foot in the dealership, and being able to take the scooters to them and doing paperwork with them, there, like that kind of thing. I mean, there's definitely going to be an evolution of business for us and for everybody, for sure. My biggest thing is like trying to gauge how many scooters we normally sell between March and August, and realizing that that number is going to be really low this year, and trying to figure out how we're going to generate revenue without those sales. I think is definitely a challenge. We've always known that we've been so dependent on the University of Florida and the student market. And we probably shouldn't have waited so long to come up with new revenue streams. But, it's like, this is when you get tested, right? Now we kind of have to go back to our roots. A lot of people might not know this, but like we were big time eBay people in the beginning. Right. So now we got to kind of get back to those roots and do some eBay auctions or an eBay store and like get a lot of this stuff online. So we're going to have to quickly adapt. And I know that a lot of small businesses in Gainesville are going to have to do exactly the same. So I just want them all to know that like we're in this together. Everybody is going to have to adapt in some sort of capacity. And so I don't know, like I would like to throw out a few ideas for our small business community out there, because I know there's just a lot of things on people's mind, and we got plenty of podcasts to talk about ideas and different things. But some of the things that I want people to be aware of right now are that, especially I just want to go to like the membership based stuff, like if you have like a gym membership, this is one of my biggest fears right now, is that, there's a lot of fitness centers and that kind of thing. And there's going to be this mindset of, if I can't use the facility that I'm paying for, I'm going to cancel my membership. And that might have to, if that's a call that you have to make from a financial standpoint, because maybe you lost your job, or, you're just struggling. So, maybe you had to take a decrease of 30% on your check, or, whatever the case might be. There's going to be instances where you have to, but I really want to encourage everybody that if you do not have to, if you can still financially pay, even though you're not able to use the facilities, to please do so, because there's just people's jobs depend on it. And I know I have a feeling that a lot of these fitness studios that have had to close because they were forced to, they're going to do what's right. They're going to say, hey, like, we're willing to, pause your membership. We're willing to give you a refund, cancel your membership. Like these are the things that I think will happen. But I just really want to encourage people to not do that. If they can still pay whatever the fee is, the monthly fee is, then to please do it, because there's just so many jobs out there that depend on it. Any thoughts on that?
No, I tend to agree. I can tell you my gym, they've been forced to close, obviously, and they've pretty much paused everybody's membership. But you do see that it whether it's a local gym or something like that, and it doesn't have to be gyms. It's just a good right. example that if you have the means to do so, everybody's looking for help. And I think that's one of the cool things that you see in this. I'm a silver lining type of person. I like to see that. But it's people coming up with new ideas on the fly and running with it. But it's also watching, like, so many restaurants that I follow, I watch on Facebook, and they're all taking out their phones and self-vlogging this, which I think I wanted to talk to you about that kind of often. But it's funny how many people are now self-vlogging, and you're getting a chance to check in with these businesses in a way that you never did before. So I think that's one of the cool things. But what I was going to say is it's the people on the front lines, the bartenders, the servers that are doing this. And what I'm starting to see now is them starting to give love to the back of the house, and they're setting up where they're used to be, relying on tips. They're setting up tip funds and stuff for the back of house members, because they're the ones crushing through all these takeout orders and demands and stuff like that. And I think in our business too, we're such a sales driven business, but most of our staff is in the service department. And I think that they tell you sometimes we try to make everybody feel part of the team and everything like that. But when you're so sales driven, it's easy for them to I'm struggling with the right way to put that, but, you know, get the recognition that they deserve. And right now it's like, here we are in a situation where we need them, and they're stepping up to the plate. And I just think that's awesome to see. But back to your point, it's just like, if you've got the means to keep the community afloat, whether that's getting takeout orders or leaving your membership open or whatever, I definitely think that that's what we're seeing, and that's what I would encourage people to keep doing, because it's super vital to kind of keep that money local.
And on the vlogging standpoint, so I have a Facebook group. It's a private group called Gainesville Business Owners. And in Gainesville Business Owners, if you're listening, you should be able to search for it and find, but I mean, if you can't find it, just message me directly and I can get you a link and get you in there. But like I put a video in there talking about content creation and saying this is the time. Like if you've never stepped outside of the box and created a vlog or documented or did a little journal kind of talking about your experience through this is the time to do it. Because so many people get so afraid of, you know, oh, nobody cares what I have to say. You know, I'm gonna be judged for my video content quality. I'm gonna be judged for this. But I'm like, dude, what are you talking? Like right now, like everybody's going through the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. We can all relate to this story, right? We can all relate to this. So for us to be able to like share our version of it is cool. And so, and I put that out there on a video, and you're right. Since I've seen so many people do more content, people that have never seen do content before do content, which is really cool. I mean, I'm like interested.
It's
I'm
fun.
like, yeah. So, I mean, that's one of the pluses of this, I guess, is that being able to share the relationship side, the personal side. But I want to wrap this up in a couple minutes because I do want to keep these kind of short and more micro pieces. You know, I'm going to keep these to about a half hour or so, but I had a couple of ideas that I wanted to share with our audience. And one of them was to tell customers to buy future services. So one of the things that I'm going to be pushing with New Scooters for Less is I'm going to be sending out newsletters to our customers saying, look, like guys, like we need your support. Like we're like, again, service only accounts for 20% of our business. We need money now. And if we can't sell scooters, that's a problem. So one of the things that I'm going to be doing is really trying to push the maintenance packages, right? Like buy your maintenance now, even though you won't need it for the next 2 years, but buy it in a bulk package now. And that way we can
get a discounted rate on it.
Yeah, that's right. It's a bulk package, so you get a discounted rate. So we're going to be really pushing our maintenance packages, and even like gift cards. You know, one of the things that even a neighbor here went to Paisanos, bought a bunch of Paisanos gift cards and gave them out to the neighbors as gifts, which I thought was really cool. You know, and she's hey, it's supporting a local business. They're getting the money now, and you know, and that's what it's all about. So buy gift cards. If you're a business, sell gift cards or sell gift certificates to your company. But those are a couple of the things that have been on my mind. Another is, you know, there's just outpouring of community support right now. So like add a donation link to your website. One of the things that I want to do on New Scooters Plus's website, up there next to our links that say culture, scooter, you know, scooters, scooter repair. I just want to put one that says, you know, donations and then have it linked to a place where people can just donate money to support our business. Because the truth is, like a lot of small businesses, I mean, you have super fans. You know, I think about Kim Kaup and talking about super fan culture. You know, you do have people who absolutely, like, I'm not kidding, dude. Like I would, some of the restaurants that are here in town, like if I'm ready to buy stock in them just to make sure.
We talked about that. Yeah.
I'm ready to buy stock in these restaurants to make sure that they do not go out of business, because like I am super fans of their food. You know,
right.
So I mean, I think having a place where people can just donate money, you know, is something that could be easily done. And definitely, if you're not sending newsletters to your customer base, you need to be. I think communication is critical right now. I know that there's a lot of email newsletters. I think, you know, every time I open my email, I see COVID-19 newsletter from some company. But our attention is there. Like we're definitely spending more time in our email right now, trying to you know, engage with our customers. And so it's a good place to communicate with your customer base and get information out there. So I would definitely encourage everybody to do that if you're a small business here in town. And it's funny, talking about Zoom. So because this is something that I've noticed has increased a lot.
Right.
Like this is going to become a status quo where people are going to do this more. Like I'm thinking about doing like a podcast social hour. Like everybody grab a beer and like let's all get in here on Zoom and like just do like a social hour. And maybe we'll do that. Maybe I'll just like pick a date and do that. Actually, we should just do that. That'd be fun. You want to pick a date real quick?
Yeah, sure. I'm definitely down.
I mean, this will probably air, on the 1st or so. Maybe we do like a Friday night, like a Friday, like 5 p.m. thing.
Sure. Yeah, that'd be good. This Friday the 3rd? Yeah.
No, I think it's too soon. Like maybe the 10th.
Oh, it's too soon? I'm ready to go, man.
I'll do like Friday the 10th.
All right.
Let me write that down. Will that work? Does that work for you?
What are you thinking?
I think everybody gets on, like I'll put a Zoom link up. Everybody gets on Zoom at like 5 o'clock on Friday night and grab a beer from your fridge and let's just hang out.
That'd be fun. Yeah, let's do it. April 10th. Let's do it.
April 10th at 5 p.m. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, but this my point being, like, I think this is going to become more normal. Like, I think we're going to do this a lot more. I went and bought I bought some stock in Zoom.
Did you?
Yeah, just because I'm like, oh, this is like, I think Zoom is going to increase because of all this. People are going to get these Zoom subscriptions and stuff. But, it's just going to be interesting to see how we adapt, how we evolve. I'd encourage our podcast family to stay connected, reach out to us, share these videos, share these podcasts, and let's stay in touch with each other. If there's anything you guys need, definitely let us know.
Definitely. And don't relax too much. I mean, for some, I think it feels like a vacation because you're not in your routine, but whether it's a personal routine, make sure you're still working out at home and eating well. Don't let this layoff become an excuse to not take care of yourself and from your businesses too. I mean, find ways to stay engaged with your customers. Don't fall asleep on your emails and voicemails. I mean, find ways to check in remotely to make sure your customers are being taken care of. I think that's super important. I think it's a little easy to just, don't focus on what you need to focus on, but when you've got time, make sure that you're still giving it attention, even though that everything is, a little off kilter from your normal routine.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, Boris from my IT masters really hooked us up. Help. I mean, we're paying him, but it's like service is well worth it. I mean, we have all the phone calls being forwarded to our cell phones right now. You got our VPN set up so we can access our server, so we're able to get into our point of sale from home. I mean, he's been incredible just to help us get to a remote standpoint, really.
For sure, yeah.
So, but
shout out to Boris.
Yeah, shout out Boris. Love you, man. So, I mean, that's really it, man. So, everybody, you guys, like, again, look for these every day at noon on Facebook, on YouTube, and of course on all podcasting platforms. We're gonna get it out there. Our job, like, we want to. I mean, we feel we're passionate about this community, and we want to make sure that you guys are staying informed on what's happening, but most importantly, just being there to support each other and to help each other get through this. And I don't know, I'm super grateful for this community. This is going to be a test and a trial for many of us, but we're going to get through this as a community. We're going to get through this. We're going to be okay. Sure, people are going to lose jobs and businesses are going to go out of business. I hope that through this podcast, we'll be able to limit that as much as possible. But the one thing that I know is that moments like these, they just define our character. They're going to help us become better leaders and prepare us for the future, right?
Absolutely. Well said, man. I totally agree. I think it's important just to kind of, now more than ever, have each other's back, whether it's businesses or individuals. Check in on your neighbors, make sure everybody's good. And yeah, we'll get through this.
And if you guys want to support us, go buy a t-shirt right now. Go buy a podcast t-shirt at whoagnv.com. That money will help us get through this from the podcast standpoint. And that's it, everybody. We love you, Gainesville. Stay strong. Holler at us if you need us. This is the WHOA GNV podcast, the podcast bringing you businesses and individuals that make you go,
whoa!
See you later. Bye.